This tutorial is designed to demonstrate the ease and joys of GameCore's render to texture feature. What I mean by render to texture is this. You will have the ability to turn any object into a camera. With that camera, you can record any happenings in your project and cast the recorded image onto another object's surface. I've included quite a few objects in this tutorial. You won't need all of them. The others are there just so you can play around a bit on your own with some other objects and textures. In the video, I used the camera object and the flat screen TV. Okay, to get started, I've set up a blank WLD. In the world, I've added the camera object and the flat screen TV object. Your TV might load in with a different texture. That's fine. It's only important that the TV has a texture in the diffuse map slot on the screen surface, which is surface material number 36. Any texture will go ahead and do. So the camera object looks like a camera, which is great, but completely unnecessary. Any object can be turned into a camera by adding the following to the object's .opr file. Render to texture, TV screen, 512, 512. Render to texture is the function call. TV screen is the variable. This must match the object you cast onto, but could be named anything. 512, 512 is the dimension of the texture. When using an object as a camera, the rendering location is at the origin of the object and it renders along the z-axis. So the camera's lens is what's along the z-axis. So go into the object's properties of the camera and edit the properties as text. If you notice, the camera is half set up for you. What you need to add to the script is the texture dimensions. For the video, I will use 512 by 512. So add that script after render to texture TV screen and save the file 512, 512 with a space and no X. So when you go back to the GameCore, it will ask you if you want to update. Go ahead and do that, but it will notice no change so far. So select the TV object next and edit its properties as text. The TV has a bit more script. So scroll all the way down to the bottom of the .opr and you will see the connecting portion of the script. It's also half done. So to have the object display the render, you'll need this script. Render texture target, space, TV screen, space 512, space 512, space surface name. Render to texture target means this object is getting the render as a texture. TV screen is the variable that must match the 512, 512 dimensions. So what is important here is the surface name. This is the name of the surface that will receive the texture. In the case of the TV, it's material number 36. So how you can verify this is by going to the surface properties of the TV object, either navigating down the list of surfaces in the surface window until you find the surface with the currently displayed texture on it. The easier way is to have the surface properties button activated and clicking on the object's surface. It'll become highlighted on the list. Copy the name exactly into the TV.opr, which is material number 36. Go back into GameCore and update the file. If you set all that up right immediately, you should see a TV projected on the TV screen. That's where the camera is currently pointing at its z-axis. So play around with the camera, moving it and rotating it. Everywhere you point it shows up as a TV's texture.